Why isn't Kittle a fucking major part of the offense? Why is this guy not being targeted to control the clock? If you're going to get away from CMC, you got to use Kittle. And they don't. Look at what the Chiefs do to Kelsey and how he controls the game when he gets the ball. The game tide changes. Kittle don't get the ball. I'm like, what are we doing? Why is
Kelsey didn't get the ball all first half either? I don't know. Like, people scheme. And like, it's not like he went to the game. I'm not going to use Kittle. Like, people scheme against her. They try to give him the ball a couple times. Purdy didn't fit it in there. Things happen. You're a head coach, JB. I'm sure there's certain games you look back on. You're like, yeah, I probably could have used my X a little bit more. I could have used this. But, like, the other team coaches, too, guys, they watch the tape, too, and they take things away from you, and you have to adjust off that. You can't force things just because he's Kittle. I got to find a way. Well, it depends on how he's being guarded, what's going on. Like, I think it's easy to just come on here and just say, use McCaffrey more, use Kittle more, use Debo. Well, sure, the common fan can just say that, but I'm saying, like, why? Let's break down the film and say, why was Kittle not being used? What was going on? What was happening?
I'm going to be doing it. But this is my take, though. You pay a guy, Smitty, Steve, in CMC $30 million to give him 20 touches? Like, let's be honest here. What are we talking 30, about?
But I'm just telling you, I'm with you, Coach. Kittle's actually underused. He needs to have 12 targets a game.
It's glaring.
And I see too many games where Kittle, for quarters at a time, is not a factor or enough of a factor.
And Steve, to Smitty's point, you got it. Well, Smitty's going to say a mid or a developing quarterback going on, correct? Let's just say that.
He's cool, yeah.
Wouldn't you think his safe haven would be the tight end and Kittle? Like, what are we talking about? Like, that's what I don't understand when we talk about football. We're like, why are we not talking about getting him the ball? And we anoint Shanahan, and I'm like, Shanahan's the biggest choke job ever, and I get taken heat for it. I'm like, so let me ask you this, Steve. Transition to the Queendom base, because I'm going to take it all day and all that. Andy Reid, Spagnuolo, Mahomes. Put them in pecking order as to importance on this team.
Well, the players matter. But Andy Reid, his ability to reinvent this wheel without Tyreek Hill for a few years now, they are now kind of a ball control team. They're not going to hit you with a lot of or overwhelming amount of explosives. They play a really fancy version of ball control, but still be physical with Pacheco. The way that Andy Reid has been able to kind of evolve his team to what he has. And I still think they need to make an adjustment or an investment into a wide receiver, a true number one, because they just have a lot of parts outside. And it's an amazing job. If you look at Andy Reid, Mahomes, that combination, every year they are basically guaranteed to at least go to the AFC title game. And now he has, 3 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl runs. But Spagnuolo is one of the great big game defensive coordinators of all time. If you look at what he's been able to do, I don't know if he gets another head coaching job. I don't know why there's not a big uproar that he's not getting a lot of interviews. I know he's had his shot, didn't work out. He may be a guy that's like a Buddy Ryan, better off as a coordinator. But I don't know. Look, players matter. But I will say one thing about Randy Reid. Throughout his career, whatever quarterbacks he has, they generally, at the very least, go to the playoffs.
I do want to make this, I got this interesting stat right here. I just wanted to list off, not to take anything away from the great Andy Reid, because he's amazing. But I will say this. Andy Reid, without Mahomes, has an overall record of 11-13 in postseason play as a head coach. 11-13 without Mahomes. Since he's been with Mahomes, 15-3 in postseason play. So I get Andy Reid, give him his flowers, his scheme. We see it. He's amazing. A Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame resume. But we talked about stats earlier with JB. These are the real numbers. 11-13 in postseason play without Mahomes, 15-3 with them. So you can be a hell of a coach and draw up the scheme, and it can be amazing and beautiful. But at the end of the day, players make plays. And without Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid is ringless. No rings. Losing record in the playoffs. So I got to put Mahomes at the top to answer JB's question. Mahomes has to be, he's at the top. Without Mahomes, there's none of this.
I don't disagree, but I remember Andy Reid in Philly. I remember when they had Donovan McNabb, and they'd always go basically to the championship game. They went to one Super Bowl, and they had no talent outside. They had a wide receiver crew that was very, I'd say mediocre back in Philly in the early 2000s. But look, the one thing about Mahomes, he has an ability to extend plays, and he kills you with the third down runs. And late in that game, he started keeping the ball a little bit. But it's a great combination. But Mahomes, he's now getting to that level where if that ball is in his hands the last 4 to 5 minutes and it's a one-possession game, it's almost like Montana. I had the same feeling. Tom Brady, you had the same feeling. John Elway, to a lot of instances, you kind of knew like this is going to be very dangerous and tough. He's gotten to that level that there is a mystique to Mahomes that do not let him hang around. And that's what San Francisco did. I felt after the first quarter, they should have been up at least a touchdown. And then at halftime, they're only up 10-3. And I kept saying this should be a 17-3 or 14-3 game. And the fact that they were only up 10-3, I said, uh-oh, they're going to allow this to happen. You had that sinking feeling. And when they didn't score the touchdown in the first overtime, you kept thinking, oh, this is not good.